Hello and welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you are so inclined. In today's video, we're taking a look at these, the Quantum 610 wireless from JBL. Now these things are currently retailing for somewhere between 120 and 150 USD, but right now in the UK on Amazon, £100. Happy days. Now in the interest of openness and honesty, JBL did send these out for me to take a look at. I've taken no fee, so my words are my own. It's a shame, really. I should have taken the money, because these are really, really good. Anyway, let's get into it. So let's just dive straight in and get on with the mic quality. It's the one thing we can all assess objectively. You can just hear it. Now, as always, I've just recorded this direct into OBS. I'm not wired in and I'm using no filters at all. And I suppose the best test to do at the start is to see what this thing sounds like when we mute and unmute it. It is, after all, what all our friends would hear. So here goes. The sound of if I hit the mic. That's what your friends get, so, you know, be cautious, everyone. But here we go. It sounds pretty good. I mean, as we can see on the box, it says right there, Discord certified, which is all very lovely. And this is becoming more and more relevant nowadays. But the mic itself, I think it sounds quite natural. It sounds quite okay. It's not the best in the world, and it's definitely not a broadcast quality microphone, but it is definitely passable. When gaming online with my friends, I had no complaints at all, which is all very, very nice. I'm curious on the box what it actually says about it, and there's not a great deal of sort of literature given towards the microphone itself. It's just a microphone, which is all very, very nice. It does say voice vocus beam microphone with flip up mute. Very nice, and then it gives me some French words, which I'm guessing is just the translation of whatever. But the mic is pretty good. I kind of like it. It's very easy to use. The mechanism for muting and unmuting actually feels quite nice. Very audible click in your own ear. Now you can use side tone with this in the software, but we'll jump onto that kind of soon anyway, just to take a look at what we can do in there. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think about the mic? I'm quite pleased. Bear in mind this headset is less than 150 quid. I'm very, very happy with it. But there we are. Let's move on. Now, in terms of the build quality of these, they are pretty much an all-plastic design, but that's not to say they're built poorly, because they feel very, very solid. Now, the headband does have a bit of creak when you move it, but it does just flex back to place, which is all very good. And of course, we have the JBL branding across the top, such as life with all headsets these days. Just on the underside of the headband itself, we do have about a centimetre, or maybe a centimetre and a half, so half an inch of memory foam, it feels like, and it is very comfortable, and it's bound by this wonderful soft leather, which I very, very much like. Now, coming down from there, we do have the extension arms, which are just, again, more plastic, and they are lined to let you know exactly the setup that you want, and they feel kind of loose, but ultimately they stay in place, and they do sound very good. I do like that. Now, just this side of there, we do have the exposed cable, and it is a braided cable in that signature JBL Quantum orange and black braiding, which is all very nice. And then we've got the standard, you know, sort of ear cup arms. Now, these do have a lot of rotation on both the vertical and horizontal axes, which is all very good. You can get that position very, very well on your head, which is all very, very nice. Now, on the inside of the ear cups, we do have about an inch of memory foam for the ear cup padding. And again, it's bound in this very, very soft and comfortable leather. Now, staying on this ear cup, all very simple. We just have the power switch. You simply hold it up, and then it turns on, and you get a wonderful little sort of audio melody in your ear of various different sounds, which all sounds very electronic and very, very awesome. On the other ear cup is where all of the action happens. We do have the flip up to mute mic, which is all very good, and there is a red LED just at the bottom of it to let you know when you are muted, which is, again, good, because you do have a mute button. So you don't necessarily need to flip the mic up, you can just hit the switch at this side. We then have the volume wheel, and it's not an infinity wheel, it's just a bit of plastic, but it glides rather well. Sadly, there's not a great deal of travel though, so being accurate with your volume is quite difficult. And above that, we do have the chat to game mixer. Again, a very, very good feature for on the fly, especially if you're playing FPS games, which I do quite a lot, so this feature came in quite handy. But again, there's not a great deal of travel, so getting that balance just right can be rather difficult. Now, one thing I did notice when taking this headset on and off, especially for the first couple of sessions, I was constantly hitting the volume setup. So at the start, don't think you're going to get it right and just leave it there. You will nudge it a bit, but after a while, you get used to the placement of it, and it's all very, very easy. Now, in terms of comfort, this thing is remarkably comfortable. I did a good 8-hour session with it, and I only took the headset off once, and there was no heat or warmth buildup. It just felt very, very comfortable, which is surprising, because these do come in, according to my scales, at 350 grams. But when they're on your head, you definitely don't feel that. But ultimately, in terms of the build, all very good. Like I say, it's very plasticky, but it feels very, very strong. And in terms of the rattle test, well, let's give it a quick go now. So there is a bit of jerkiness there, but it all sounds very padded. It all sounds very strong and robust, which is all very, very good. So in terms of the build, I'm very happy with these. Very happy indeed. So let's move on.
So here we are in the JBL Quantum Engine software, which is the software for all of the Quantum headsets from JBL. All very lovely. It's much like all of the others, to be fair though. In the top left corner you've got the volume as it stands right now. You've got a little microphone bit just to let me know the mic is on. You do have the chat to gain balance just here, and as you can see, without using the mouse I can in fact change it on the headset, and I do like that feature. Just being able to change that balance on the fly is all very good for me. Then you've got your spatial sound option. As you can see, it's turned on. The remaining battery of the headset, which by the way, the battery for this is outstanding. At about 50% volume you do get about 30 hours, which is unreal. Honestly though, I tend to play, as you can see, at 70 or above, so I get about, I don't know, maybe 16 to 20 hours. It's still quite a long time, so happy days with that. And our way of connection, which is wireless as it stands at the moment. Right, then we've got down the left hand side all the different options. The top one being the equalizer, and as you can see you can change to various profiles that you can in fact save yourself, which is all very lovely. Then you've got your standard options just here. I've got it set as FPS, but it doesn't matter what you change it to. You can in fact then just modify this on the EQ yourself, and you've got many different sliders, so you really can refine these, and that's very, very cool in my book. Then we've got the greatest option of all, the lighting option. And as you can see, there's various different settings in here. You can then switch on advanced mode, which lets you change the tempo, all of that sort of stuff. But honestly, for me, the best setting in here is right there, which is off. You save battery life and it just makes the whole thing nicer. Very good. Then we've got the spatial sound options. Now I do like the DTS implementation on this headset. It does sound very, very good, very crisp and very natural. The Quantum Surround, I'm sure if you played around with this enough, you could get it working well for you. You can change all sorts of things, including setting up the diameter of your head, which is a cool option to have. I've just left mine at the default because I'm really not sure how wide my head is. But when you do change this, it does change the way the audio projects. It's quite cool actually. Then you can go into this where it says channel setup, but honestly that just opens up a website, which is cool, with a video, all very lovely. And then we've got the channel ID. This will give you, if you do click that, which I'm not going to do right now, it plays a sound for each of the various directions as if it was 7.1, just to let you know what it's going to sound like so you can refine your settings. And when you've played around with the settings for a long time and realise you've messed it all up, you can just click reset settings, which is very lovely. But honestly, I tend to use the DTS on this, or just off and just use stereo, which is all very cool. Underneath that we do have the microphone options, and as you can see my mic is on. Happy days, I am in fact recording. The volume of your mic, which I have set quite high, which is unusual, but it seems to be working, so I'll just leave it at that. And then your side tone, which of course is so you can hear your own voice as you speak through the drivers themselves, and I have mine set to 3 because I like the sound of my own voice. All very lovely. The last couple of options are just your help guides, all of that cool stuff, so you don't need to call support, because why would you? That's just irritating, fix it yourself. And then system software, always make sure you keep the software up to date. Well, there we are, there's the software. It's much like all of the others, like I said, but with a few additional options, especially with the EQ, and it definitely looks cooler. Let's move on.
So what do we get in the box of this very well priced headset? Well, we actually get more stuff than I expected. We'll start with the Waste of Trees. We get a nice little envelope with all sort of goodies in, and when you open, you're greeted with that JBL Quantum. Awesome. Waste of paper. More instructions that are a waste, some more waste, and some more waste about product information. PDFs would be fine, JBL. PDFs. In fact, that message to everybody that sends out paper. It's pointless. Anyway, moving on from that. So we've got the Waste of Trees. We then get this, which isn't a massively robust carry case in any way. It's sort of there to protect the headset on transit, but you can use it. There's no real robustness to it. I feel that I could just tear this apart with a slight yank, but if you were to travel around with the headset, putting it in this just to keep it slightly protected inside your bag might be a good idea. Now, I probably wouldn't recommend traveling around and using this headset on the go, to be honest. When we look at the size of the ear caps, it's a very, very bulky bit of kit, so using this on the go or traveling, probably not the wisest idea, but it's a nice to have should you need to. All very lovely, with the JBL branding on the front, of course. Then we get into the good stuff. This is the Type-C charging cable. Now, it does have quite a bit of length to it, which is all very good, and you can use these whilst charging as well. It doesn't take over from the wire, it does just use the wireless, so you do need them both plugged in, sadly, but it's a good length cable. It feels very robust, it feels very strong, and it's got these lovely orange like sort of caps on them to plug it in and unplug it in. They do have a bit of a grip, which makes it all very easy. And of course, you do need fast charging on wireless headsets. It's an absolute must nowadays. But like I said, you can use these while charging, so should you run out of power, you're good to go. good to go. Then we've got this tiny little USB receiver, and it is very, very small. It's about 1.5 inches in total length. So when you've got this plugged into your computer or your laptop, you're not really going to notice the bulk sticking out of the side, which is all very good. It's very simple to use as well. You do have a pairing switch, although the headset comes pre-paired with this, but should you lose that pairing, you simply just press the switch on here, hold it down on here, and eventually you'll see the flashing lights just synchronize like everything else, which is all very good. And then we get this, the compatibility maker, as I call it. It's the 3.5mm cable. When using this, you don't get use of the headset controls itself, because this can just be used in power off mode. So you do get some inline features. So you do have a mute switch, you do have the volume just here, and you do have a microphone on it as well, should you be muted. But honestly, it's a very nice headset, and when you're connecting to a controller in those meantimes, then this is good, because compatibility with this, as with anything wireless, is only for PlayStation or Xbox. You don't get both. But we'll move on to that now, while I'm here, actually. The headset itself says on the box it's compatible with PC, PS4 and PS5. Now this is also compatible with a Nintendo Switch and an Xbox should you use the 3.5mm cable. Now, when we say compatible, on PC you get a whole host of software. You get the JBL Quantum software for a start. You don't get that on the PlayStation. That's something to bear in mind when looking for a headset. But these are compatible with PC, PS4 and PS5, which is all very good because I have all of them, so happy days. But yeah, all very, very nice. Anyway, let's move on. Now in terms of the audio, for the Quantum 610 wireless, I was very, very impressed. The spec alone is 50mm drivers, you've got a standard response range of 20 to 20,000 Hz and an impedance of 32 ohms. All great, but meaningless if they don't sound very good. Happily, they did. They sounded outstanding. Listening to music was a joyous experience. The bass was absolutely perfect. It was controlled, not tamed, just controlled, so it didn't wash out any of the mids, and the treble sounded very intricate, very delicate, and it was very, very nice to listen to. Whilst gaming, these were outstanding. I tried the Quantum Sphere audio setup that they've got, the sort of surround, and it's... I couldn't use it very well. I get where they're going with it. You could hear footsteps, for instance, a little bit further away, but the distraction from the immersion of the game was just too severe for me. It sounded very open back, very wide staged, but with a bit of reverb to it as well, so it was a bit confusing, if I'm totally honest. The DTS implementation on this, however, normally I never recommend using it, but it was solid on this, especially when gaming. Things like Warzone, all of the sound was exactly in the right position that it should have been. It all very good, and I felt like it gave me a bit of an advantage, but the audio didn't start to move away from being natural sounding. It still sounded very, very crisp, very, very awesome. The same with movies, using DTS on these, outstanding. Great implementation of it. In terms of the stereo, when listening to music again, these things absolutely rock. Even in gaming in stereo, which I'd normally always recommend, they were very, very solid. The sound was very precise. It was all very good, which I'm sort of gushing over them a little bit. But yeah, the audio from these, very good at this price point, very, very impressed. But there we are, everyone. If you did like the video, do leave a thumbs up, and why not subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I will have an Amazon affiliate link for these below. Like I said, if you're in the UK right now, they're an absolute steal at £101 on Amazon, so happy days with that. Also, for my UK viewers, I'm now an affiliate with the BT shop. You will see a link down below. If you want to buy some tech, please go on there. I can get you up to a £25 discount, so thank you, BT, for that one, I suppose. But again, thanks to Team JBL for sending these out. Thanks to you all for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Goodbye.